Welcome everybody to Rad Pod and Chill. My name is Heidi Kuda. I'm with Jim Stewartson and High Fidelity. I trust everybody had a good holiday or a tolerable holiday. And I do hope that not too many people out there are suffering from the post-holiday blues. I got just a touch of it, but soldiered on. How are you guys doing?
I was a fucking mess yesterday. I don't know why. Whatever.
Me too. Me too. Me too.
It was weird. I was out of sorts.
Can I tell you what I think?
Not that I'm exactly in sorts now.
So what I think occurred is, the budgets were, allocated to the, full speed ahead harassment campaigns. And what I feel like is that we got a taste of what it's going to be like all through 2024. And I kind of wanted to stay in the holiday spirit just a little bit longer. And that was denied us.
Talk about that shit right now.
Hold on. I gotta talk about funny shit real fast.
Wait. Heidi was first, and then you.
Heidi's first. All right. Go ahead, Heidi. I'm sorry to interrupt.
So, as you guys know, I always try to what I call pause to grace and think of a more positive way to say what I want to say, as opposed to doing the sledgehammer like my colleagues do most often, not always, but often. And so I just realized that anybody who would do the type of work that targets people doing the work of democracy obviously has some sort of spiritual malady, and we're dealing with people with spiritual maladies. And I don't want them to destroy our holidays, let alone our democracy. And I just wanted to, reaffirm that the people who support you, Jim, and the people that support us, they do so unfailingly. They get harassed all the time. They know what we're dealing with, and I have so much gratitude for them. Everything we do is basically reader funded, viewer funded, and I'm just very grateful that enough people get it. And quite frankly, as we were preparing for the show tonight, I was thinking that we're going to beat these bastards. And you know why? Not only because of collectively the work that we do and the teams of people that we work with and what they do, it's because they're fucking liars, all of them. And that can only last for so long before the truth just absolutely erupts. And I think we're starting to see some of that at the highest levels. But so that's where I wanted to start. 2024 is going to be super gnarls. We got a taste of it already. And as Ruth Ben-Ghiat taught us, the harassers tell you what you're doing right. And so what I did is I just wrote myself out of it. I just sat in front of the computer and did the work that I do. And I feel very good about that. So anyway, yo.
So I need to talk about something funny that happened. So last week when we were having technical difficulties and I couldn't play any of the videos,
yeah,
it turned out my youngest child had taken his school Chromebook, his brother's school Chromebook, a laptop, and 2 telephones, and was running speed tests all at the same time on my network to make it lag, to mess with me.
Little hi-fi. I happen to be a huge fan of that kid.
His age is in the single digits.
Yeah, little hi-fi.
So you hold on. So your own son was harassing our podcast with technical hacks.
He does it out of love, though.
So your son hacked our podcast live on air.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying to me?
Yes.
They're my kids, man. What do you want?
You know that's a federal crime, right? It's like a FCC crime.
No, it was all internal to my network, so nothing really. I mean, speed test packets left the house, but no, he was lagging the whole.
Well, can I tell you the true story? It's because he was harassing trolls in the chat. And Hi-Fi kicked him out of the chat. So this was his get back. I'll show you, Dad. And you know,
that's true.
in his defense, he did do it at the end. And in his defense, I absolutely adore him. He's hilarious. So yeah, training him. We'll have to put him in touch with Jackie Singh and get him started in cybersecurity early.
No. The hacker community is wow.
All right. Moving right along.
Moving right along.
Hey,
guess what?
Yes.
Maine kicked Trump off the ballot.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm guessing that Susan Collins is concerned.
Well, you know, maybe next election the state of Maine will learn its lesson and everything will be fine.
Or maybe not. Jim, what's on your mind, man?
Oh, I don't know. The sort of most alarming thing, I guess, was ye olde Putin's general went banana balls on Alex Jones and said, "We're moving toward the sound of the guns. The sound of the guns is freedom." Wait, what the fuck did you just say? You fucking old crotchety witch-looking motherfucker! What the fuck did you say? Literally, the sound of the guns. He sounds like, he's like writing a Jason Aldean song or some shit, right? And I've just fucking had it with this guy, and I've had it with these feckless dumbasses in the press, who won't, like, zero people paid attention.
Yeah. Well,
except the 900,000 at last, look, people that looked at it were like, holy fucking shit. What? Like, look at the quote tweets there. Everybody's like, what the fuck is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? Why is that guy doing that shit? And so, I mean, in a way, it's helpful because I think you can just look at the facts. You can look, the retired 3-star general gets $18,000 a month. $18,000 of your tax money a month to say to Alex Jones's audience, after screeching about anti-white racism like a crotchety old grandma from fucking, from the Mason-Dixon line. It's incredible. And these idiots are just too afraid because, Flynn sued Nicole Wallace.
So
we can't listen to that guy because he's a kook. That's what I heard in my DMs from fucking morons.
Yeah. When is he gonna be ruled a fucking vexatious litigant? Like, all he does is fucking sue.
No, that's not all he does at all.
Yeah.
That is a very tiny part of what he does.
Yeah.
But it works, right? Like MSNBC, I have not heard the word Flynn on the MSNBC network. The courageous patriots of the Fourth Estate out here have not said his fucking name once since they got a frivolous slap suit from the most treasonous motherfucker in American history. The cowardice, the fecklessness, the fucking gelatinous, no spine having coward out there who cannot see what's in front of their fucking eyes, recognize, hey, this seems important, and do a teeny tiny bit of investigation. Teeny tiny. You don't have to go very far. Do some Google. You could DM me. I will fill you the fucking. You don't even have to. You don't have to credit me. Nothing. I'll just give you facts. But they can't. It's just like a fucking disease. There's there's a tumor in the place where Mike Flynn's supposed to be. Crazy. And there's a reason for it. And there's a reason why it seems so blind and so crazy. It's because psyops work. Because like these assholes that run around chasing us who want everyone to believe that the most important thing you can do to save America is to warn the world about Heidi and me and Hi-Fi. Like, they want you to believe that's the most important fucking thing for them to possibly do in the United States of America is go after us. Why the fuck is that? So look, the point is, yes, talking about Mike Flynn, the pain in the ass. Trust me, we know. Suck it up, you babies. Seriously, who out there? And I know some of you motherfuckers watch this. Who's gonna just strap it on, man? Let's go. we need some courage out there. We got 1 year. I know. No,
somebody needs to square up
just to get a giggle out of Heidi.
Oh my God!
That's what's on my mind.
All right.
That was my pre-TED talk.
Like, why is it us?
You made me think.
I don't know if that's.
I'll tell you why. Because we're punk rock and we're defiant and we're very, very stubborn and we all.
No.
Well, we were raised with maybe just a little bit too much. I don't know, righteousness or something. I don't know. Appreciation for democracy. The sacrifices our parents had to make. So listen, you made me think about a whole bunch of things. One of them is that a couple things are happening with the media. Some are obeying in advance. Some have billionaire owners that already placed their bets on fascism. So I don't think they're going to save us. And every now and then, a great article comes through. Nina Burley did a great job on a report related to Rupert Murdoch and Fox. Thank you, Media and Democracy Project, for pointing that out to me today. There will always be bright spots. Obviously, bylines work, our work, but we cannot expect corporate media to save us. That's really number one. And number two, it's like when I talk about the preview of what 2024 is going to be, there will be billions of dollars spent to try to interfere with truth. Billions of dollars spent to try to overthrow democracy. There is no money that I can see on the side of independent investigative journalism and truth. So it is going to be a David and Goliath fight to the finish. On the other hand, as I often say, the GOP would be extinct if they didn't have culture wars. And every single day, there's going to be a new outrage, a new victim thing, a new horrible thing said, a new blowback to the horrible thing said, and then carpet bombing of people's minds on Fox et al. On how terrible liberals are and cruel. So it's like this is gonna be the pattern. And rather than lurch from crises to crises, get to fucking work. Whatever it is that you can do, whatever talents you have, apply it toward ensuring we have an election outcome that is non-fascist. And as Jim says, it's more than politics now. This is more than politics. We are going to be seeing things. We predicted that a year ago, that there was going to be these type of horror events staged to ramp up non-kinetic warfare. Well, obviously, that's what happened. It's not good. It's going to be awful because everything's at stake. Either Putin can control America through his proxies in the GOP, or he can't. And the reason you have people out there like Alex Jones, a full-time Russian propagandist who goes on Solofiev's show, who had to pay $1 billion to the grieving families of Sandy Hook, which I'm sure they're never going to see, but he's a cruel and psychopathic liar. The reason he's replatformed, the reason that he has a show, and the reason Russian assets go on his show is because they, as Jim said, it's an existential thing for them. Either Putin retains power or he doesn't. And if he doesn't, we have a shot. And I'm serious about that. As Ruth tweeted today, it doesn't matter if it's Trump or Nikki Haley. The GOP's allies are now Putin and Hungary, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what we're up against. And I'm up for it. I don't like this fight. I didn't choose it. It's been 7 years of pain, but we have to keep defending democracy however we can. That's my TED Talk. Cheers.
Cheers. Well done. One thing that struck me about where it is right now is it's kind of for me at least, it feels like, and maybe it's just because I spent too much fucking time on X, but it feels like the inverse of 2020, where there was a very small but boisterous, small meaning, millions, but comparatively small QAnon community that was making up a lot of really scary, weird fucking noises, and the normies were just kind of like, oh, look at them, ha ha, that's funny. And it's almost like the opposite now. Like the normies are on this little island now by ourselves, and the QAnon, no matter what side. And by the way, QAnon is a fucking horseshoe.
Yeah. Right.
Full horseshoe. The QAnon's looking down at all the normies like, who can we pick off now? Right. It's just like sniper. It's like a we're a fish in a barrel. They're just fucking, who can we get? Either by getting them, deplatformed, getting them so sick that they leave. The tactics are numerous and relentless. So it's a real different feeling for me. And one of the things I said recently, is that I can't remember what I was going to say now.
Tactics, QAnon horseshoe.
Yeah, it is we're moving towards this place where we just don't. There's not going to be the possibility of sort of peaceful way out.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
really hate saying this, but
yeah,
one way or the other, there are enough people in this world right now that when they see the writing, whatever that writing is, they are going to pull out their fucking weapons, and they may not, may or may not have plans for what they're going to do with them. But when we have a retired 3-star with a brother who commands 100,000 troops saying the sound of the guns is freedom, and by the way, giving dates. So I just want to give this, not dates, months. He's, for some reason, talking about June as some kind of event, which is deeply concerning. Anyway, I get very frustrated, with the environment we find ourselves in, because we are not only an island being sort of, attacked because, Musk wants it, but we're also like being completely manipulated in terms of, our accounts, our reach, all of that stuff. I mean, it's comical.
Yeah.
So, we're basically, and I'm landing my plane. We're behind enemy lines on that fucking thing.
Yeah.
And I've said this before, but I'm saying it again louder. if you're on that thing, you should be there for combat. Like,
Mhm.
you're not there to who you socializing with on that shit right now.
Mhm.
Really, I mean, you having a nice social time with your friends? No, no. It's every single day, every time you go on there, no matter whether you're a crazy motherfucker
Right.
like I, or normally you can't help but look at your For You and be like, wait a
Yeah.
second, there's
Yeah.
like, why are all these people beating each other up?
Uh-huh.
Why do I have nuclear bombs going off? I got anti-vax. I
Uh-huh.
got boobs all over, like boob
Uh,
ads everywhere. Like, what? You can't, you can't, you can't not see it at this point.
yeah.
So all I'm saying is, like, just, dear God, make sure you know why you're on there, and suit up if you're going to be there, and if your kids or anybody who is vulnerable is on there, watch
Yeah.
them carefully.
I just want to say that Lena Yackenstall says everything's fine.
Yeah, so I've been banned 4 times in the last 2 days. That's fine,
Awesome.
whatever. I'm used to it. But I've also identified, well, there was a troll account in Jim's mentions that only tweets between 8 a.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. Eastern. It was pretty freaking obvious they did it for over a week. So I don't know. You see these things, and you see the bots, you see the ops, you see the influencers who are artificially inflated in views. It's obvious the platform is manipulated,
Well, yeah.
and yet
I mean, that's the whole
no one
point.
does anything. So at what point does Twitter, why isn't it violating the good faith clause of Section 230, and why aren't they liable for the negative things that are occurring on their platform?
I think we've answered that. I think there's a fear of taking on tech because of the economy. I think if
I
we
want to
were,
know if Elmo has filled out his FARA documentation.
oh, well, that's interesting you bring that up because I think it's very important. The gentleman you were referring to, the American tragedy that you brought up earlier, I think it's very important that I think people have forgotten that there was an admission of being an unregistered foreign agent. We are dealing with a lot of unregistered foreign agents. My American Monster series, which so far documents 12 of these U.S. menaces that are, accelerating global fascism. There's a lot of unregistered foreign agentry going on.
You
There's a
mean you
lot
mean
of,
the FARA that the Wicked Witch filled out after the inauguration? that dude.
like, look at, just there was a very important, as you guys know, the work I'm doing is intentional, but I had to start with Paul Manafort. For me, it was like Manafort, then Stone, then Cohn. That was like the nexus, the torturer's lobby, the guys that took money from the worst murderous dictators in the world to reputation wash them. So what we are experiencing in America is really the acceleration of all of that led to this moment in time, where in 2016 the Kremlin successfully ran active measures to get a asset in the White House. And it's not like when he was voted out 4 years later, which is amazing, by the way, America, because that doesn't usually happen. It's not like everything was okay. No, the infection and the tentacles and not having high level arrests immediately after the insurrection. Roger Stone can make a movie. He can star in a movie admitting who, created Stop the Steal, The Big Lie, who were the masterminds of the insurrection, and he can still be free. It doesn't really make any sense unless, of course, we have factions within our intelligence agencies. We have factions within our military that are allied with that type of mindset, because why are these guys still free to go on Alex, Russian propagandist Jones' show to twist more minds with their lies, their manufactured bullshit? I don't understand. I don't.
As
Negative
well,
billionaire Alex Jones, by the
right.
way, who still hasn't paid up. He's out
No.
here spreading propaganda.
Yeah.
What in the absolute? Why does he still have a studio? Why does he have microphones and lights? The hell?
I mean, yeah, it's a damn good question. I mean, hey, here's something that I'll tell you real quick. So there's a young lady by name of Natalia Antonova who met Mike Flynn at Cambridge. There's a whole thing about that we won't get into. But she, for some reason, had special access to the GRU's old files. And some of those old files were erotica. They were Russian intelligence erotica that had been designed to, sort of titillate and get people under the influence of Russian agents. And so Natalia Antonova showed it to Michael T. Flynn at Cambridge, and they became fast friends. And he, when he was corresponding with her, called himself General Misha. Okay? Oh, did you just? That was good. I like that.
Yeah, I just found out I have sound effects. Sorry.
It's the morning zoo. Okay, so General Misha, as everybody may be aware, went to Moscow on December 10th, 2015. And General Misha was sitting to Putin's right-hand man. No symbolism there, right? Anywho's, when Putin gets up to go speak on the stage over there, guess who swoops in? Margarita Simonian, who is the chief of RT. Oh, and by the way, they were at a RT gala,
which he was paid for.
Which he was paid 45 grand for.
And had to return the money.
We know of.
Yeah.
Margarita comes when Putin gets up, sits down next to Michael T. Flynn, looking very comfortable. You can only see his treasonous ear in the video, but nonetheless, there it is. And Jill Stein's got her phone. She's like, "Oh, this is so great! Look at all the Russian assets. It's fucking amazing." Anyways, Putin gets done and comes back to, when he gets done with his thing, the first people up, the entire room, are Margarita and Michael T. Flynn, and they stand up. Oh, they love them some Putins. Okay, so we've got Misha, the aforementioned Misha, and by the way, Misha is just Russian for Mike. So Misha has now been there. 2 weeks later, RT puts out a parody about how they're going to interfere with the election.
I saw that.
Okay, 10 months later, that it's a parody. Now, the first thing that Margarita Simonian, who is the star of this video, says is, "The reason I wanted to talk to you, Misha, is you're our creative director, right?" 2 weeks after Margarita Simonian sits down with him. So 3 months after their parody, the GRU hacks into DNC and John Podesta. And from John Podesta, we get what? Motherfucking Pizzagate.
Yeah.
And then and the reason that this came up is because they did it again. Oh, we're just joking. This is their joke. We interfered. We interfere. We will keep interfering. And the crazy part of this video is that it is a boast about how they brain fucked Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So they have Joe Biden, and he's like a puppet, and they're uploading shit into his butt, and like, you know, it's like, ha, Joe Biden. But if you just replace Joe Biden's face in this video with Donald Trump, it would be damn. They're just bragging about it. So they're not only bragging about what they've done, they're bragging about what they're doing.
And I'm sure this was covered.
Misha is doing the same goddamn thing he did in 2016 and 2020, and one more time he's going to do it again. And God knows it's going to be the last time either way.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure that after you reported this, all the major networks and the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal picked it up, right?
Yeah, I mean, they probably went to RT, and RT said it's a parody. Oh, this Russian state media said it was a joke.
Okay, so
it's literally how these dumb.
I'm glad you brought this up, because we, you know, obviously have learned nothing since 2016 when an AP headline reads, "Trump says he didn't know he was quoting Hitler." You know, it's like that's not journalism. That's just not journalism. What and here's the other thing that's important to note about what Jim just said about RT. Russia has two things that it manufactures: lies. They have bullshit factories that spread their lies throughout the world in order to overthrow democracies and infect people and keep people in democratic nations warring against each other. And energy. They produce what, you know, comes out of the ground naturally there. And that's pretty much it. And ammunition, we buy their bullets too. So it's important to know that, you know, we buy more Russian bullets than anyone. And so it's very, you know, when you wonder why they put so much money in the NRA and, you know, Red Sparrow spies there, it's because it's good for business.
There's, if I may, I think there's another reason why the NRA is there. Because Putin's plan, I mean, the plan of the Russians in general has been to subvert us from the inside out. But in particular, Putin's goal for a long time has been the Gerasimov Doctrine, which means that it's full spectrum warfare on our country that, you know, exploded in 2016. But the reason why Maria Butina was all up in the junk of various NRA ghouls.
I'm sorry, Jim, but your choice of words tonight is so beautiful. I apologize for interrupting. All up in the junk. Go ahead and continue. I knocked over my nail polish, but it didn't spill. Everything's cool.
I mean, he's not wrong.
No, he's not. I'm just saying there's like I love double entendres. Okay, all up in the junk of
NRA ghouls.
Yeah.
Is because Putin wants as many guns in the hands of as many morons as possible. Right? What was the literal first thing that Donald Trump did when he sat down behind the desk? The first thing is he gave guns back to crazy people.
Yeah. Right. And then he invited Russian spies into the Oval Office.
Think about that. The first thing, the most important thing right now is to troll Heidi and to give guns back to crazy people. It's just fucking obvious, right? Yeah. What the purpose is. You know, fucking the NRA has been infiltrated and, you know, and funded by a cavalcade of compromised fuckers. It is not an accident that you see Maria Butina, who is Mike Flynn's favorite billionaire's ex-girlfriend, that you see pictures with her and that dusty old Wayne fucker that looks like he should be, if he looks like if you shot a gun, he would explode into pink mist. Be like, so anyway, I'm just saying there's a reason. It's because they want us to have enough guns to murder each other.
So
to the point that they can do whatever the hell they're planning to do.
On that note, what do they not have in Russia? They don't have guns on the street because you can't fucking own them, right? And they don't have free speech because if you say what's on your mind, they will put you in the gulag. So what do we have here? We have free speech. The show would not exist if we did not have free speech. What is under attack in America? Our right to what we are able to do with the fourth estate, the ability to speak truth to power. What else is being exploited? Our weak gun laws. Why do you think we have mass murders all the time? It's very good for the business of killing democracy. So let's show, I think we need to show a clip from Rich Logis of Leaving MAGA, because we, as you guys know, as our viewers know, interviewed a two-time Trump supporter who now is dedicating his every breath to helping people leave the cult of MAGA. He describes his indoctrination as being like in a cult. And he's now very much trying to help and trying to make us understand why people could have supported Trump and how much remorse he has, and how he's the first to say he was politically ignorant. That does not make him dumb. He's a very smart man. I'm very glad to call him my friend. But let's have somebody who was in that mindset, indoctrinated, explain what's going on.
One of the techniques of leaving MAGA for me, it's going to sound so simple what I'm about to say, diversifying my news and information sources.
But even now, I see, Jim was commenting on this earlier. I'm commenting on it now. We see MSNBC freaking out about immigrant caravans headed towards the U.S. border. I mean, we just watched as Finland closed their border to these, African and Middle Eastern immigrants that were forced to the Finnish crossing by Russian troops. And Finland said, that's hybrid warfare. We're not doing this. Sorry. And then, so what did Russia do? They started picking off the African immigrants and putting in their army to go to Ukraine and die for them.
Well, let's just go back to, before we get to the more complex aspects of this, let's just go back to what Rich said. He was in an information bubble. He was in a silo. He didn't get any information that wasn't MAGA approved. And when he diversified his news sources and when he went and sought additional information and truth, particularly as it related to science and scientific developments related to COVID, as well as who was behind January 6th and how coordinated it was, that gave him much stronger footing to leave MAGA and then turn on the movement. So yes, Hi-Fi, it's Hi-Fi and I just had to come up with a list today of trusted news sources. And unfortunately, it's a short list, and most of it is people that we've had on the show and people that we work with, a lot of, historians and various authors and some academics and investigative reporters. But it's not like you can point to this particular corporation and say, yeah, you can trust what they do. No, sometimes they'll do good reporting. But as Jim, you so appropriately said today regarding MSNBC, it's Vichy. Vichy's not good for anybody.
I mean, and not to, feed into my age too much, but while network television news was certainly not perfect, it gave us a shared fucking reality of some sort.
Yeah.
And we have completely lost the ability for all of us to share a world that exists. And yes, to your point about Vichy networks, CBS employs Catherine fucking Herridge, who is nothing short of a Kremlin propagandist. She's literally in there to spread Hunter shit. In 2016, Catherine Herridge is the one who spread all the stories about Hillary's emails, including the ones that started Pizzagate. Fucking Herridge.
I'm mortified that the only reason I know that is because of your work. It's like I wouldn't even know that.
I didn't know that before I did my thread a month ago or whatever. I mean, she's been obviously compromised for a long time, but Jesus Christ, I mean, how obvious does it get? And why does, the CBS really feel the need to do that? Why does MSNBC really feel the need to pander to this bullshit? Caravans, are you fucking serious right now? Are we going to fall for this exact same shit again? Really?
Yeah, we are. We're going to fall for the exact same shit again and worse. There's a lot of controlled opposition operatives pretending to be experts out there who are whispering into people's ears about how dangerous and horrible we are and what a sexist bastard hi-fi is. And, it's like, I wish occasionally people would just pause for a second and go, I know Heidi wouldn't work with someone like that. Like nobody fucking thinks, nobody ever thinks, hey, maybe the girl, knows something. When we put this team together, maybe there was a reason, and it's like,
you're
it's
an
never
enabler,
like that.
You're an enabler.
You know what? I'm
you have no mind of your own, you see. We control your little mind.
Hold on. I do need to say something here.
Uh-oh.
And Heidi and I were having this discussion. Trolling is an evolution of the dozens.
Here we go. Yeah.
Dozens originated from tribal games played in Africa where young men proved their verbal prowess, bandying with their others, right? So that's the root of trolling. So when I use your mama jokes to a white supremacist troll, I'm specifically rubbing in their face the fact that the behavior they are engaging in originated in Africa, and thus they are ignorant of history.
Well,
and how
high
things
five.
are.
Well, high five.
That's all.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're not giving them a fucking history lesson when you're giving it back to them.
Hold on.
But the dozens is important because sorry, Heidi, I'll shut up. The dozens is also how I was brought up.
Mm-hmm.
I was brought up outside DC, and my school was half black, and the only way to survive in there was to get really good at cutting on people. And it was great.
Good training.
I loved it.
Training ground.
As long as you're playing on equal ground, I could play that game all day long.
So all I wanted to say is not everyone's as smart as you, Hi-Fi. And unfortunately, post Me Too, the fake ass pretend feminists, pretend controlled opposition operative, fake ass academics use what you do against me all fucking day long. So I'm just asking you, like unfortunately, Richard Pryor, I'm sure he wouldn't be able to tell the jokes that he told that we all screamed about when we were younger. So I'm saying just find something else that doesn't say mama in it anymore because it's weaponized against me. Like, I get it. And also, Hi-Fi, I must say,
Yeah.
all respect to you and all respect to Jim, because you guys are freaking fierce at shutting down these ops and calling them out and exposing them. And wouldn't it be amazing if maybe America had this idea that we could actually have like a department that battled disinformation, and it wasn't just like my two bros on Twitter? Like, there was actually, like, an effort to fight back against the lie factory out there. But in the meantime, I got used, guys.
we tried that. We tried the disinformation board.
I
And
remember
what
that.
happened was Jack Posobiec said, "Ooh, it's like the Ministry of Truth. Oh."
Yeah.
And some cowardly motherfuckers in the administration,
Didn't back Nina Jankowicz.
like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, there's so much pushback. I can't believe it. And it's like, here's the thing. If you're gonna launch that thing and you don't know that you're gonna get exactly what you got,
Yeah.
then you need that more than you can possibly imagine.
Yeah.
you need basic fucking information about how this works.
Yeah.
And understand that not every tweeter you have to pay attention to the same way. It's like they're I mean, here's the thing. The people who are making those decisions are people like anyone else. And they get pressure. They hear shit, people, all kinds of people are coming at them. And, it is a controversial topic.
Yeah.
Because here's why. I may have said this before. Oligarchs. When oligarchs say, I'm fighting for your free speech, they mean I'm fighting for my right to brainwash you.
Yeah. Word.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that fundamentally is what is going on here.
That's right.
Okay,
That's
so
bullshit.
You brought up a name I wanted to talk about because he was the start of something I watched happen. And it's a very interesting narrative warfare tactic. But if you watched over the Christmas holiday, supposedly Jack Posobiec and his parents were swatted, right? And then Marjorie Taylor Greene was swatted.
Yeah, interesting.
Right? And then Rick Scott was swatted. Mm-hmm. They're building a narrative that, look how awful the left is. Look what they do. Mm-hmm. We know this is a tactic from Gamergate. It could very well be leftists. Jackie Singh thinks she has an excellent lead on the person who's actually doing the swatting. Yeah. Which that's important to talk about, right? And it's okay. So if it's happening to both sides now, why aren't we writing laws about it? Where's the legislation being offered up?
Jackie did actually force, her work may have inspired the FBI actually to work on building out a division that actually addresses that. So the work that she did, as you saw in her keynote, did have an impact. But you just said it, like, if you're going to form a department that deals with disinformation, because every dictator-run country already has resources allocated to that. That's why our minds are in such a twist in America. But if you're going to form it, have somebody like Jackie Singh run it, who understands what this world is, and put her in charge. And I got to say, if you haven't donated to Nina Jankowicz's GoFundMe to fight back, because she was actually put in charge of this, she was attacked while she was pregnant. Fox actually went out of their way to try to destroy her life. And for those who have been targeted with these types of malinformation campaigns, it changes you. It's not, it's not normal to have to endure something like that. And I'm really pleased to say, as of last time I checked, she's raised $75,000 for her legal defense to go after Fox, and that's substantial. And Yeah, so support people who are on the front lines of this. It's not normal. We are at war. As I said in recent episodes, we made the mistake of calling disinformation warfare, information warfare, active measures. We should have just called it war. I mean, you're looking at some freaking war veterans right now. And like Zarina Zabriskie said, who is on the front lines in Ukraine, she thinks what we're enduring may be more difficult because it's a mind fuck and people don't see how damning it is, and people all around the world take this work. Oh, Jim, something that I noticed the other day. It was something that you were reporting on, showed that the client who was hiring people to target a particular, whether it was a reporter,
activist,
whatever it was, they wrote it in such a way that the person who's going to take the account may think that they're actually going after somebody bad. And I just wanted to say that because we see these hate cults spring up. And I wonder if the client makes people believe that the money they're being paid to go after somebody is justifiable because the person they're going after, they actually believe may be somebody bad. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
totally.
I just assume okay.
The reason why, there's whole Twitter spaces about us that are listening to us right now and fucking, just this sort of weaponized, coordinated hatred is because that is a required component, right?
Okay.
It's required to pull in people people who aren't getting compensated or motivated in any particular way.
They just have
but want to latch on for reasons. There are those people. And then there are, the people higher up the chain who know exactly what they're doing and intentionally do what, any cult does, which is create an insulated environment where a bunch of people sit around and they just make up, and they get really mad. They just get themselves super mad. and eventually they and people around them start to actually believe their own fucking fumes, right?
Okay.
They sit in these hate spaces and suddenly, oh shit, I can't be a bad person because obviously I've heard 160 times in the last 5 minutes that this guy is some kind of monster of some kind. So your brain, like in any coercive propaganda and any sort of cultic environment, your brain just processes that as, well, shit, it has to be true if I've heard it enough times, and especially if it's come out of my own mouth.
Okay.
Because people like this, unless they are completely psychopathic, they need to justify it to themselves. And the way they often do that is, well, he was mean to my friend, without looking at all into, okay, first of all, is that true? Second of all, is that a good reason to spend 37 months like trying to destroy a stranger's life?
Yeah.
Like, let's say I was mean to you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's not, so there is no sort of justification for it. Obviously, in real life, I have my faults, but Jesus Christ, I'm just doing my best.
Yeah.
Right. And these guys, they are really motivated. And there are two reasons. Well, there are four reasons.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
Ideology.
Yeah.
Compromising information.
And ego. It gives them sort of an importance that they wouldn't other.
At the sort of head of the cult snake are a lot of people who are getting paid.
Yes, of course. Because it would be a very strange hobby if you weren't getting paid, right? And I also do understand.
Some people actually do have that hobby.
I do understand that, but that's also the community that they think they're a part of until they try to question or they get defenestrated from this community, then they find out it wasn't a community at all. It was always a cult, a false sense of community. I learned that from Dr. Hassan.
Well, can I just say, like, to anybody who wants to listen, the minute that you get out of line, the second you decide to get out of line and wanted to depart in any way, and many of you found this out already, you're going to get rejected. You will be in the out group. Not only will you be in the out group, but you will be a suppressive person.
Yeah.
Who, you know, they are going to go after. Yeah. So, you know, have your fun, but you know, it is not going to be a good time trying to find the exit.
No. So. And also, there are legal ramifications, and there's a legal behavior happening. So I just want to make sure that We'll so hi-fi. I would like to show the other short clip that we weren't able to show because your kid hacked our podcast last week after you kicked him out of the chat.
This Republican Party must be mercy killed. It is not a party that can be saved any longer.
Just mercy killed, you know? And he's talking about at the polls. And, you know, like Ruth tweeted today, doesn't matter if it's Trump or Nikki Haley, doesn't matter who it is. This is a compromised party that is working directly with people like Putin and Orban. So voters know what to do. And we're seeing that voters do know what to do. Our concern, like Jim has been saying, is all of the stochastic terrorism, all of the violent rhetoric that the corporate media seems to be ignoring. But we know better than to ignore Jim's reporting, because he was the one who warned us about January 6th and what occurred there. And, you know, so if you're concerned, I'm concerned, Jim.
I mean, you don't have to listen to me. It's not, there's no, that's the thing. You don't have to, it's not me you have to listen to these fucking people. I'm just the idiot who's willing to sit through 2 hours of fucking Alex Jones.
Oh God.
Ew.
And Mike Flynn, in order to find the 18-second clip where Flynn is planting the trigger.
Yeah, right.
For what? Because the entire rest of the it was about civil war, revolutionary war, spiritual war, war. All of it was about war. And, you know, what kind of fucking black swans are we going to have and all this stuff. But that was a very, very clear signal that, you know, hey, at some point, there's going to be the sound of guns. And the sound of guns is the sound of freedom, meaning get your guns ready, right? So I just happen to be the guy who is willing to go through that, because I have spent a lot of time understanding that when this guy says shit, he's not kidding. There is a reason for it. Every single thing he does is, number one, a lie, and number two, for a purpose. So all you have to do is listen to it. That's my whole trick. If anybody wants to do what I do,
I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. I find the psychological operation that's run on your head when you're listening to this information to try to get through what they're parasitizing, what the plant is, what the bomb is that they're planting. You know, I've been told by trusted sources that, you know, that there are people planted in this country with guns, ready to mobilize them when they are told to. And I don't see any signs that our leadership is prepared for that type of assault. I appreciate all the work that it takes to run this country and to maintain our democracy. I appreciate all of it, but I feel like not standing up before the nation and having like a on the beaches type speech about disinformation, and not making people who do this type of work that we do feel protected in this country, and just allowing lawfare, to target people who are critics pointing out the truth. That's not a good look.
You know what else isn't a good look is somebody in our goddamn government needs to get up there and say Putin is the fucking enemy right now.
Yeah, right.
That guy, not just in Ukraine. It's not just about Ukraine. All right, high five. It's about us. So that what High Five just showed was the Glad Tidings Church 2.5 fucking years ago, when they gave Mike Flynn AR-15 on stage at a church, and he said, "I think I'm gonna find someone in Washington D.C." Ha 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 ha. The MAGAs go ha ha. So when we're talking about like
it's right there.
The implanted people with the guns, they're not implanted. They're right there. Just that. See them? They're fucking all out, right? You got these anarchist idiots that I've covered recently that print their own weapons in the millions, literally, that we don't even know about. We've got close to half a billion anyway, and then we've got unknown, like plastic fucking Fisher Price ARs running around. The problem, what's happening here is the administration, the military they're finding themselves in a situation where if they actually come out with the sort of real situation, they're concerned about the impact that might have. Was going to cause, a disruption or whatever, right?
Yeah.
The problem is the more time they spend not talking about it, the worse that problem gets.
Yeah.
And so now they're in a situation where we've got people just straight up calling for civil war all over the place.
They declared war on us. Yeah.
And so our problem is that if we push back on that disinformation, you have to tell them where it's coming from.
Yeah.
You got to tell them how it works. You got to tell them why a third of the country is out of their fucking minds. Right. And that, like, messaging that is challenging. But I'm sorry, somebody needs to stay up at night in the fucking press office and work it out.
Yeah.
Because right now, all the rest of us are like, yo, does anybody see this motherfucking elephant over here, or is that just me? Right? And that's not an acceptable situation for citizens to be in. No.
Putin's our enemy. There are a lot of fifth columnists and Putinists in America working directly for him through cutouts, but essentially doing the work of Russian propagandists. Like our friend in Leaving MAGA explained, when MAGA was confronted with the Russia problem, their line that they were trained to say was, well, everybody asked for foreign help. That's not what's happening here. We are being undermined as a country. We are being weakened through information warfare. We are continually lurching from crises to crises, and we are fighting each other rather than doing what Americans do best, and that is uniting when there's a real fight ahead of us. So 2024, we're going to be presented with real fights. We need to figure out that the bravest thing that we can do is unite for our democracy. So that's what I'd like to leave us with. The bravest thing we can do is unite.
Thank you.